The headquarters of clapter these days for political propaganda, unfortunately, has become SNL. And I say this with full respect because I grew up on SNL. I love SNL. I learned to, idolize is the wrong word, but to just absolutely love Bill Murray, Eddie Murphy, Adam Sandler, even Will Ferrell to a lesser degree, but Dan Aykroyd, all of these guys and so many more. There's too many more to name. I learned to appreciate these amazing talents that have absolutely shaped our world, comedically especially, from SNL. So it's really painful that SNL doesn't even care anymore about their propagandistic tendencies. So here's an SNL clip of Colin Jost, Scarlett Johansson's emasculated husband, and Kate McKinnon talking about the supposed Don't Say Gay bill.
Florida's controversial Don't Say Gay bill passed its final state Senate committee. Here to comment is Kate McKinnon. Thank you for being here.
Well, I was sorry to barge in here like costume. I heard about this law, and I think it's amazing.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, because when I was in middle school in the 90s, I was kind of tortured by the constant use of the word gay, that's so gay, or ew, you're gay. It made me feel horrible. And to hear that Ron DeSantis has taken a stand and said, no, you cannot say gay in school anymore. I'm so jazzed. And in Florida, of all places.
So actually, I feel like there's been a misunderstanding. See, the law actually means that you can't acknowledge that gay exists at all.
All right, so the first thing I gotta say about this clip is that Kate McKinnon is always just kind of like the hook, right? She always comes in at the last minute to rescue these talentless personalities on SNL. She is always while these guys are flopping around, they say, here's the funny thing, we'll just bring Kate McKinnon in. So I've seen that endlessly as I've watched SNL clips. They understand how unfunny they are and they need her to just come in and kind of be cutesy or something like that to try to get somebody to laugh at their incredibly talentless selection of people on SNL. Not the least of which, by the way, is that guy, gosh, what's his name? He's never said anything funny in his life. Kanye's best friend. So what is it? Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson. I always want to call him David Peterson or something like that. But anyway, Pete Davidson. So Kate comes in to try to save the day. And of course, in the process, lies. Now here's the real gut-wrenching thing about SNL. Like I mentioned before, SNL has a special place in our society just because it's had such a prominent role throughout the years. I think it's the longest ongoing television series ever, maybe at least in the United States, I don't know, but certainly. So it's been around for ages and generations. I grew up on it. You grew up on it. We all grew up on it. So it's so sad to see them just patently lying to people and not caring. Again, this is the progressive left thing, is that they don't care about whether or not they might really be deceiving people in this moment, because this Don't Say Gay bill is completely mislabeled. So I want to dig into the facts of it so that you will know for yourself. If you'll read the wording of the bill for yourself, which I'll link down below as I always do with all of my sources, you will see the word gay never comes up in the bill at all. So for it to be a Don't Say Gay bill, it's incredibly strange to say the least. And then the other thing that you should know is that it is not restricting discussing alternative sexual lifestyles like homosexuality and transgenderism. It is merely saying that kids, kindergarten through 3rd grade, cannot be taught this stuff by a teacher. And then moving forward, conversations must be had on an age-appropriate basis. Now, I don't know about you, but unless you're a demon in the 7th level of hell, I don't know how you can actually disagree with any of that. This is why I call this the anti-grooming bill. What person actually believes that you should be having conversations of a sexual nature to kindergartners through 3rd grade, and then beyond that, that you should not be having age-appropriate conversations with these kids? That's all this bill does. So for SNL to come out and joke about it the way that it does is absolutely misleading, to say the least, and a poor, poor attempt at comedy. So indeed, this is an anti-grooming bill. It's not a don't say gay bill. It's actively trying to protect young children from activists. And the only people who would disagree with this are people who are truly demonically inspired. Because who wants to start teaching kids at a very young age about these kind of aberrant and rare, albeit increasingly growing, but rare still for American society, sexual lifestyles? Who is interested at making sure kids at a very young age know these things and learn these things and grow to accept these things and make them even potentially their own identity in kindergarten? You know, subverting the discussion that parents are having with kids behind the scenes, right? Who is interested in doing this except for people who are radical ideologues that want to groom children? So this is why I call it the anti-grooming bill. But this is also why this is a call to action in our Christianity Not Today segment. Usually I make fun of things that are going on in the Christian world that don't represent Christianity at all. And so there's a little bit of that here, but really this is a clarion call to those of you who are Christians in Florida to stand up. I want to show you a clip really, really quick of what happened on the day that this bill was signed into law by the Senate and then now is about to go to the governor's desk. This is what happened when protesters showed up to protest this anti-grooming bill. So here's the clarion call to action. When I saw this, and I saw that line of people down the hallway, I thought to myself about the story of David, that there were two crowds. There was the Israelites and then there was the Philistines. And in the middle was this guy named Goliath, who was yelling at the people of God that day, who was mocking them and who was deriding them. And then it took one man on the other side of that aisle to come in the middle and meet Goliath, a guy named David, King David. Even if you're not a Christian, you're probably familiar with this story. Takes a stone, gets that guy in the head, and then Goliath falls down dead right there on the spot. So I thought about that story because I thought to myself, all it would take is just one Christian, guys, to show up as a counter-protester, walk right down the center of that aisle, walk in the middle of that mob of mindless, chanting, demonic, screaming horde to say, I want one person, one of you, to come stand flat-footed right in front of me and to tell me why you think a kindergartner should be taught about any sexual orientation or identity, much less the twisted nature of transgenderism or homosexuality. Please come tell me why a kindergartner should be learning any of that stuff rather than playing with Play-Doh, learning how to eat glue, play with blocks, or learning, how to read, maybe learning how to wipe their own bottom. These are the things that kindergartners should be working on, not transgenderism and homosexuality and my two moms. That has no place in a kindergartner's life. So I was just waiting for one bold, valiant Floridian Christian to go stand there in the midst of that crowd. And I know it would be scary, but all it would take is just one to say, not being even rude, give me one good cogent argument if you can, and any one of you, give me one good cogent argument for why this should be taking place. And if you can't, then all of you need to go home now. Now, of course, there would be some emotional arguments, but nothing that actually could justify what's going on. But perhaps that didn't happen because we're so used to losing on the right that we just consider the signing of this bill a victory. And we don't expect that there will be any retribution. But folks, there will. Parents, there will. The identity politics left knows now that they won't face opposition because there wasn't one. We didn't have anybody pushing back against these protesters. So now they feel like they will be unrestricted in their pushback, and there will be pushback from this bill. And who knows how crazy it will go on the other side. But there needs to be some parents in the midst of that who will say, you're going to have to go through me if you want to get to my kids. So if you're feeling froggy, son, jump. And The next time when they plot their retribution, they'll be a little slower to do it because they'll be afraid that there will be other people standing in their way, rather than a bunch of squishes who will not stand up for the truth. But this is why, especially Christians in this hour, need to desperately stand against a progressive leftist movement that wants to continue to create progress and doesn't care about the destruction it leaves in its wake. Calling all things progress, even if we're infinitely moving backwards and burning the house down while we're inside of it. If Christians don't stand, I don't know who will. But my gut tells me that we might be on the verge of something really different. We might be on the verge of something really great if we cannot just count our eggs before they're hatched, as they say in the South, or if we cannot just celebrate before we get to victory, like Leon Lett in that Super Bowl. Check that out on YouTube. We need not celebrate before we get into the end zone, and we need to keep on pressing, because now is the time for us to grow a backbone and to stand for the truth. Otherwise, we're going to continue to see people used as tools in an agenda that ultimately robs people of their dignity, robs people of their moral fortitude, and robs people of their true identity, their true self, which isn't lurking somewhere in a radical Marxist ideology, which isn't lurking somewhere in a radical gender ideology, which is lurking somewhere deep in the heart of the person who created you. Jesus. But we'll have to tackle that next time. Thank you so much for watching today. Thanks for liking, sharing, and subscribing. We'll catch you next time. Did I mention it was Jesus? I just wanted to be clear because I coughed in the midst of that, so I didn't know if you heard it. But Jesus is the person that can help you truly know who you are. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Go on about your day. Go on.
You can catch brand new episodes of Indie Thinker with Reed Huberman every Monday, and weekly bonus episodes to keep you thinking throughout the week. But you have to subscribe and click the bell to be notified when new episodes drop. If you enjoy this content, make sure to like this video and share it with friends.